Evening. Hello. Good evening, everyone. It is 5:56 p.m. on February 9th, 2026. We are going to call this meeting to order. We apologize for getting started a little late. We were having internet trouble, so getting everything up and running. We are going to just begin with the budget overview to the public, and then we will adjourn that meeting and get into our regular board meeting. So the superintendent and I will go ahead and present. All right, good evening. Later in today's meeting, the board will be adopting the budget. But right now, as it stands, it currently stands as the superintendent's proposed budget. So far in the process, the superintendent and the admin team have met with the board, gone through their budget. Then the board had a special workshop where we had several questions, and we reviewed questions from the Board of Finance as well as from individual board members. Everyone discussed it, and we had time. And then last night I sent an email to the board with several questions, just having you guys think about some questions so you can make some of the best decisions. And I'm going to just share those questions really quick before we start this meeting, because I think it's important to frame where we're at and the decisions we are going to be making. So let me pull these up, if I can from my phone. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the questions that I had asked, and I think as we get into this and talk about this, I want you guys to continue thinking about it, and I want it to be on the record for everyone here, everyone watching, that this is what the board is thinking about as we go through this process. When supporting or proposing a reduction, have you explored multiple perspectives and asked enough questions to fully understand the impact? If a reduction is made, what are the short-term and long-term impacts on students, staff, and programming? What are the potential unintended consequences of that cut? Are there alternative approaches, efficiencies, or phased options that could reduce impact? How will we communicate and justify these decisions to our community if there is concern or pushback, or if NBC Connecticut is filling our boardroom with 100 upset community members? 6 months from now, if there is significant community concern or public scrutiny, will I stand confidently behind this decision? Would I feel the need to reconsider or reverse my position later? And have I truly considered as many perspectives as possible to ensure I can stand firmly and confident behind my decision? So though they might seem a bit redundant, it's just really important to frame that because where we are headed and the decisions we have to make. Everything we do as a board is centered around what's right and best for all the students of Berlin Public Schools. And we want to remain an attractive district where people want to work and educate our children. So we are going to kick it off with the mission. So our mission statement, we empower our students to be enthusiastic, curious learners and kind, compassionate leaders in our community and the world. Our core values are purpose, passion, and pride. The goals are to provide quality education, prepare students for multiple options and opportunities, maintain favorable class sizes and course offerings, consistent support for students, staff, and technology, and a commitment to a safe learning environment. And this is the Berlin vision of a graduate. We can keep going. And some student achievement highlights. So I'll let the superintendent talk a little bit about those because this is all the fantastic work that the students and the staff are accomplishing.
This year, for the first time, we've had 4 schools recognized by U.S. News Report. Our AP Honor Roll recognition, we received that. That's not for just a number of students taking AP courses. It's a number of students increasing as well as those scoring 4s and 5s. Tonight you're going to hear for our Lemonson MIT Invention Team grant. We're one of, I believe, 8 in the entire country. You're going to hear them from tonight at our board meeting. 2 National Merit Scholarship semifinalists, National Merit Scholarship Commended Student, 120 Presidential Award recipients, National Honor Society members, Rho Kappa, Community Service Citations sealed by Literacy, Capstone exemplars. We have districts still coming to Berlin every year to check out our capstone as it has evolved over the years. Co-curricular programming, 40 interscholastic sports. I'm not going to read through them all, but we have tons of co-curricular for students. School day does not end at the end of the school day. We know that school is much more than just the end of the school day. 70 plus viable clubs, K-12. And district highlights, average elementary class size 19, average secondary class size 21. Some of the programming that we have that's unique to Berlin. So when I show you these last 3 slides, I show it as a representation of what the budget allows us to do. Should the budget not be adequate, we would not be able to maintain the class sizes at the secondary and elementary school. We may not be able to run as many programs. We may not have as much co-curricular. It's just an example of that makes Berlin an exceptional school district is all that we do beyond the school day as well as within the school day.
So now we're going to get into the budget and the superintendent's budget request at a glance. So I'll let him explain the stack bar graph.
So the stacked bar graph is usually a representation that we have. This year, we're at a 5.4% increase. In other years, we've come in much higher than that. Really did some work with the budget, meeting with all administration and our finance and operations director, Ashley Dorsey, really honing things down before bringing it to the board. I think what's important to note here is 3.81% is salaries and benefits of staff. So in order to maintain the current programming, the programs I shared with you, the class sizes, the number of staff that we have, we need 3.81%. That does not mean it ends at 3.81%. You look at the contractual obligations, they're at can't read from there, here, whatever it is, it's 0.15. Those are our bus, our contracts with various vendors, our power school, all the different systems that we use typically go up anywhere between 4 and 7%. We're able to hold that down. We did a reevaluation of them, looked at which ones were being used, which ones weren't, and consolidated prior to bringing the budget forward. Our transportation at 0.55%, negotiating fuel rates and things, and we won't go through every slide later on, so I'm talking about now. Negotiating fuel rates, when we purchased the fuel, we really locked in at a good time. Fuel is at a good price. That's also our contract with MBT as our bus company. That's why we have a 0.55% increase there, which is nominal compared to many. And the last one is supplies. Our supply accounts at each building are held at 0 for the 5th year in a row. Equipment is looped into that. Our equipment budget, typically, you'll hear many say, including the Board of Finance, the Town Council, that we have a surplus at the end of the year. They are correct. We do have a surplus at the end of the year. It's absolutely correct. Everything, I'm a math major, I'm not a finance major, but when I do talk to CFOs and companies, if you come in between 1% and 3%, you did a good job in the budget. We usually come in around between 400,000 and 500,000 in our budget with a surplus. That surplus being used for equipment being servers, laptops, technology in the classroom for students and things that we normally do not have in the budget. We do not have a replacement cycle for any technology in our budget. So without having those funds that are considered surplus, which really end of the year funds, that goes to the board. It's all printed out. It says what we purchased, and it's used for technology. So when you look at our budget, we do have some equipment here. Typically, that's where we usually reduce from if we don't get that budget number. But what I want you to walk away with is our average, which is that red line, our average is at 3.28% over 5 years. That's what the average budget was. Last year was the highest budget that we ever received from the Board of Finance and the Town Council. It was at 3.9%, and they gave us additional money for a mandatory reading program that was initiated. So we definitely appreciated the funding last year by the town and the Board of Finance, and we're hoping that there is as even more so giving to the board this year.
So moving on to the next slide is the percentage of special education in our budget. So as you can see, that pie chart up there represents our overall budget. 25.9% of our budget goes towards special education, and the requests you know, the thing about special education, if you do not understand, we are very limited in what we can and cannot do. Like, we are required to provide services to students who qualify. And we are happy to do so. And Berlin does a fantastic job at keeping students in districts, providing students with what they need here, so we don't have to send them to schools outside of Berlin because we're required to pay for their tuition and transportation. So I think Linda and her special ed staff have done a great job at looking at ways to keep students in district and really reduce the costs. So that is the percentage of our overall budget.
And we really show this to you just to note that special ed does play a major driver in the budget, being a quarter of the budget. We have roughly 20 students that are outplaced, meaning that we don't have the education that those students need to be educated here, and we send them outplaced. The minimum educational outplacement is roughly $100,000. That's the minimum. We have students that require over $200,000 of funding per student to educate them outside the district. This is overall of the entire, all of our lines, and the budget packet is online. It's all color coded. There's rationale why we're at the percentage increase. There's great explanations there. We'll show you a few, but I don't think we're going to spend the time going through it this evening. It's really laid out in a manner where you can go through and link back to this a summary sheet to each item, and there's a rationale why the increase is what it is, and you can see what the numbers are here as an overall. And you can see I want to just draw your attention to the equipment down the bottom. The majority of that is technology. And the way it works now in the budget, it used to be 10,000, then it went to 20,000, now 25,000. So anything under 25,000 now goes into the operational budget. So if we were to purchase anything for the classrooms, any type of technology, and it's under 25,000, it does not go against the capital. It goes into the operational, which does drive the operational budget up. Julie, if you want to add anything.
No, thank you for that. So I think as you go through each slide, we can just kind of go through them very quickly because I know that we have a lot of students here that are going to be recognized, and we would also like to get to that. But if online, if you access this presentation, you can see what the increase is, the percentage of that increase year over year, and what changed. So this is the administrative salaries. Can you move to the next? And then we have our certified staff. And you can see what has changed. So it's all laid out clearly. This is non-certified salaries. This is like paraprofessionals, clerical, custodial, so on and so forth. It's listed there. Now, employee benefits are a huge driver in our budget, and that's another thing we don't really have control over. I know that we try and negotiate to the best of our ability, but when insurance is going up everywhere, insurance is going up, and that's just that. And then these are contracted services, and again, it lists out what they are, like operational and educational systems, professional service for PPS. That's like effective school solutions at Berlin High School. Legal services, transportation for athletics, professional development. We have Power School, Frontline, all those things. It explains what changed, what the drivers are. Our utilities, everyone's utilities are going up. And it just says what changed, the rates. And then transportation. So again, it's listed out there. And then you want to add anything?
Just with transportation, we typically go out. We've had a 5-year contract with MBT, which is local right here in Berlin. And compared to other districts, MBT does a wonderful job for Berlin of ensuring that they have buses, ensuring that they have adequate buses, ensuring that they're on time, and very responsive.
So for tuition, what changed? Anticipated 3% increase for outplacement facilities, as we see everywhere, including, the grocery store or anything we're spending money on. There has been a huge increase in prices across the board, and our outplacement facilities have also increased their prices. So the tuition for this includes special education, outplacements, public and private, independent studies, magnet school tuition, vocational school tuition, and those are things that we are required to pay. If a Berlin student chooses to go to a VOTEC school or a magnet school, Berlin pays the tuition. So that's why we want to keep our courses, our opportunities and offerings competitive, so students want to stay in Berlin and not go to the magnet schools or the VOTEC schools or the agri schools, because once they leave, we're still paying that tuition. So the next one is supplies, textbooks, and materials. Do you want to add anything on that?
No, I think that it's definitely scrutinized. There's certain textbooks that we have to purchase in order to offer certain courses at the high school. If they're AP courses, ECE courses, or other college experience courses, they require certain texts, so we purchase those. The new reading program at the elementary requires certain texts and consumables. Athletic supplies need to replace every year, and graduation, obviously. So just some of the ones that we really need to purchase. Just one comment that was made, just want to make sure it's clear. There is adequate money for supplies for classroom teachers. I know some teachers put out last year to ask for certain items from parents. It's not that they're needed. If parents do choose to supply certain things to the classroom, that's wonderful, we appreciate it, but the teachers definitely have adequate supplies and paper and pencils and things in the schools. And that's the equipment one. That's the line I spoke of, that typically this is the one that get reduced, and then we use end of the year funds. I don't like to say surplus, but end of the year funds to purchase the equipment that we normally can't have in the operational. You can see technology, projectors, Chromebook, iPads, laptops, servers, et cetera. But regardless of whether you're going right into the secondary workforce or you're going to post-secondary school, technology is everywhere, and it's important that students have the ability to use the technology, integrate it into normal learning in the classrooms, not in addition to. And I think we do an outstanding job here in Berlin of doing that. So it's just a matter of making sure we have the technology for students.
So all other expenditures, you know, these are professional organizations, CABE, CASBO, Superintendent Network, all the different professional organizations, and there's an increase in those athletic tournament fees and minor building improvements. And you can see that's gone up. And then Armed Security Department, there's an increase of $2,595. You want to speak to that a little bit?
Sure. The Armed Security budget, we show it here. This is totally on what's called Department 61. It's on the town side. It's not on the operational budget of the Board of Ed. And I want to thank the mayor and for years ago requiring security, armed security. Each building has at least one armed security. The high school has an SRO. We have security vestibules in each building. We have a new alert system, as well as Raptor. This is where those funds are. This is on the town side. And so there's definitely, as we said in the first slide, the priority is safety and security. This is the budget that represents that, and it's definitely a priority to have a safe and secure school district. As you were greeted this evening, when there's an event, we have security staff at the high school. After hours also, with usually one door to enter the building. It's important that that students feel safe, as well as the staff feel safe in the building. This is the budget that supports it. So
we're going to just wrap up, and I'll let the superintendent talk a little bit about this.
Okay, additional funding sources, you can go through this, we won't spend time on it. It just talks about where our funding, what's changed, new grant, special education expansion. We have a SEED, which is a development grant. Roughly $70,000 is funded, that's for new positions. Open choice funding is increased. The open choice account, we have roughly 92 students in the open choice program. Open choice is a program for students from Hartford that apply to go to other districts. There's probably over 20 open choice districts, Glastonbury, West Hartford, to name a few, Avon, Simsbury. So we've been in the program for a number of years. Our model is typically to take students at the K level. And you might say, well, how do you do that? It's more teachers. Typically, we take 10 students a year at the K level. Having over 10 classrooms, we divide the students out in the classroom, usually 1 to 2 students per classroom, so it doesn't increase the numbers. And the state then gives us a reimbursement for taking those students. We used to be at 4%, as many districts, 4% was the max. When you have 4% choice students, they reimburse you at a rate of $8,000 per student. That goes right into the operational budget to pay for staff. Not to pay for choice staff, it pays for Berlin teachers teaching students who reside in Berlin as well as the choice students. So That budget, we found out after the year increased. We were at 3% for a number of years, and we were at $6,000 per student. Because districts can no longer reach the 4%, the state decided to make 3% the threshold for $8,000. So there was some additional funding that came in from Choice, and we're expected to receive that next year, so that's in the budget. And if you go through the packet, you'll see that the Choice funds are expended for staff. They're listed which staff are paid with the Choice funds. It's not additional money on top, it's additional money on top of the operational, but it's calculated into what staff we have. I'll cruise right through this. And you can look through, it's more about the Choice, the open Choice budget, how it's spent. I won't spend time on it, but those are the positions I talked about. You can look at that. The excess cost reimbursement. And there's more detailed, which we could go more into, and I know we're going to present again with the town. So once the board sets the budget, we can go more detailed and not spend the time tonight. Federal funding, as you can see, it decreasing here. Pre-K tuition revenue. This past year, we started offering pre-K on a full-time basis for role model students. We used to do it on a part-time basis. They were half-time programs. There was no fee for the students prior. Now, because it's full day, we do charge a fee for our preschool. And within that fee structure, it's how we pay for the program. And this just breaks down to see what fees we anticipated collecting and anticipated revenue and how it's going to be spent. We assume that we will have 40 peer volunteers. This year we're below 40, but we're hoping our max is 40. And it funds 5 positions with those funds that we raised through the program. So that's just a little about our pre-K program. And funding comparisons, this just goes back and gives some history of what was asked for by the board, by the superintendent, and what was then received by the budget after the referendum. This just talks about not all same towns in our DIRG, but it talks about similar towns that Berlin often gets compared to. It just takes a look at what the adopted budgets have been on a 5-year average and what they've been for the last 5 years prior, just to give you a threshold. And one of the comments often made is, give us a competitive budget with other towns, and we'll do a fine job providing a quality education that the community expects. Within our DIRG, the state doesn't use a DIRG, but it's still used by many. It breaks down towns that are in our DIRG, which are similar demographics, on what budget we received and what budget other towns received. I think it's important to compare what other towns are receiving, what we're receiving. Net expenditure, that's our per pupil expenditure in our DIRG. You can see where we are compared to other towns. And then back to the bar, and then the questions.
So the board is going to be discussing this and voting after all the exciting parts of our meeting. We have a great meeting that we want to get to, so we are going to wrap it up here so we can move on and recognize the students. But I just want everyone to know that the board has been tasked with answering the questions that I sent out, internally and thinking about them, but also the board is committed to continuing to provide the best possible education to all Berlin learners, but also make this a place where people want to send their kids to school, people want to educate their kids, people want to work here. We want all staff, teachers, through custodians, clerical, you name it, to want to be in Berlin Public Schools. And that's what our budget supports. So thank you, and we will adjourn this meeting at 6:19. And then we will start our next meeting. Do we have a second? So the motion by Jen, the second by Vanessa. All those in favor? Aye. Is Peter on yet? No? Opposed? So the vote carries 8-0. All right. Meeting on February 9th, 2026. And this meeting has been called to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
liberty and
justice for all. Okay, so the first order of business, we have a special recognition for Berlin High School football team. And thank you so much for all sitting there patiently. It may not have been the most exciting presentation to sit through, but you guys were so respectful. Thank you. So I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent, but we are very excited to recognize you guys and your accomplishments this season. So,
This time, if I could ask, let me get to the mic.
you want me to go up here?
Yeah, let's go. At this time, if I could ask the coaching staff of Berlin High School, Coach Capodice, if you come down front, and all the Berlin High School football players that are here this evening, come on down front, please. If you could have a round of applause for them before they get here. You guys get to go front and center. Come right across the front.
on.
Come on down.
Go. Come on.
Perfect. Fix right there. That's great. Thank you, guys. So I'll speak on behalf of the Board of Education. We could not be prouder of your efforts this year. But as I said to Coach Capodice throughout the year, it's one thing to go 13-0 and win all the games. But what's even more impressive is that over 50% of the students were on honor roll. There wasn't one student in academic trouble the entire year. I don't know if that was because if they heard from Coach Cap, it might have been even worse than what you guys would have gotten on the football field, right, Coach? But it truly is an honor to have Berlin. Since 2009, we've never won a state title, and to be undefeated is a true accomplishment. So on behalf of the board, I want to congratulate all of you and thank you for all the hard work, both on the field and off the field, and representing Berlin so well. So thank you, guys. Thank you for everything. Oh, yeah. If the board members could reach behind their seats, there's a white bag. And Coach, Coach Capodice wanted to get you guys something for this, so behind there, go ahead. The microphone's yours for a minute, so you got to take it. Go ahead. Whatever you'd like to say to the board, John.
I see everybody. Well, okay. Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. We had a tremendous season this year. Such a great group of guys and coaches that are here tonight. Just nice of these guys to take time off from their day and their work to come out and be a part of this here tonight. We're very thankful for the community, the support we had this year. Our superintendent Benigni, AD Franco, and our principal Miss Amenta were so supportive as we went through the journey. And again, the biggest things that we're proud of as well is 50% of our team made the honor roll. So we really focused on developing student athletes, and we did that this year. And when you do everything right, the scoreboard takes care of itself. And this year it did. These kids went out and won 13 football games, and winning the school's second state championship since '09 was a tremendous accomplishment. But again, we're most proud of the things we did in the classroom, the things we did in the community, and then the things we did on the field as well. So thank you for having us. We're really appreciative, and thank you for all the community support as well. It was a tremendous season.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good job. Great season. All right. So now we're going to move on to bat things. Bats. I'm excited. All right. You ready to move on to batty things? Okay, so we have students from Berlin High School. Can you say the name of it? I don't want to mess it up.
Copy knocked them.
Yeah, I would have messed that one up. They're going to present a mid-year technical review, and the presentation is going to highlight student-led research and invention work focused on developing a conservation system to help mitigate the impact of white nose syndrome on bat populations. So I'm not going to keep going, but I've been looking at your posters, especially during the budget presentation, and I am very intrigued. So is there anything you would like to add before we turn it over?
I've heard a little bit about the presentation because Mrs. Amenta had a chance to get a little preview, and so I'm very excited to hear from it, hear from all of you this evening. I think the board will be very impressed, so looking forward to it. So whenever you're ready, you have our full attention. And there he is. He's in.
Am I on? Good evening, members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Benigni, and of course, our esteemed guests here in the audience tonight. My name is Katie Amenta. For those of you who do not know me, I am the very proud principal of Berlin High School. In 2025, a group of young scientists here at Berlin High School set out on a mission to solve a major biological and ecological concern growing across our country. Where did the bats go? With that, our team, Carpe Noctem, was born. This team, proudly representing both Berlin High School and the state of Connecticut, is a team that is one in 8 schools nationwide to receive a special grant funding through the Lemelson MIT Invent Teams program, which supports high school students in identifying real-world problems and developing invention-based solutions through hands-on research, design, and collaboration. Tonight, I am honored to introduce the Berlin High School Invent Team, Carpe Noctem, as well as their esteemed leader, BHS science teacher, Mr. Wisniewski.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. As Mrs. Amenta said, my name is Chris Wisniewski. I'm a biology teacher here at BHS and proud advisor of our Carpe Noctem Invent team. And I'm really excited for board, Superintendent Benigni, staff, everyone to see and get to hear a little bit of what I get to see on a regular basis, daily and weekly with this team. Those of you who are employed in the district or familiar with the inner workings with high quality instruction, vision of the graduate, that's going to be on full display tonight. Like what you're about to see is very much a graduate level research project. Like this is not just a little high school small time science project. Like this is very much a next level project. And I'm excited for everyone to get to see it tonight. We've been working for about a year, and I'm going to let them speak for the majority of this, but for about a year. And this, even though this is the halfway point of our time together, we still have a lot of cool things coming our way, and I'm excited to see how this all continues on. So I'll just give a quick introduction to everyone who's here with us tonight, and then we'll continue on with our slides. So we have Kaylin Stein, Michelle Liu, Hannah Bednarczyk, Toby Junker, Sidel Holland, James Maserio, Marco Mangelo, Angela Tipinsis, Monica Burbula, and Ava Barbagallo. They've been working so hard, again, for this past year. Give them a round of applause. They deserve it. And with that, I think it's about that time. All right. With a clicker.
Oh, sorry. Which one? This one?
To the right.
So first, let's talk about Lemelson MIT. Lemelson MIT is a partnership between the Lemelson Foundation and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and they're also the grant program that we have gone through to receive this grant. Let's talk about the Lemelson Foundation. The Lemelson Foundation was founded in 1992 by Jerome and Dorothy Lemelson. Jerome was an accomplished inventor with over 600 patents, and together, these two created the Lemelson Foundation in order to encourage innovation in other generations. MIT School of Engineering is an internationally recognized university famous for its technological enhancements and invention education. Together, this partnership forms the Lemelson MIT Foundation. This foundation runs the Inventing program, which we went through to receive this grant. So let's talk about it. Hundreds of teams across the nation applied for this program. Only 8 were selected. These 8 teams received $7.5 thousand in order to make their invention a reality. And at the end of the year, each of these teams will come together and make their own Eureka Fest to showcase their innovations and to discuss their procedure. We are also really excited for this opportunity and very excited to announce that Dr. Lee Estabrooks, who oversees the Invent Teams program, is here with us tonight. We've had the chance to meet her, and she's been an amazing resource in our invention journey. We should next talk about why we decided to do this in the first place.
Hello. Okay, so some of you guys might be wondering, how did this team come together? So this all started back in the fall of 2024 when I had started a small independent study group between me and my friends. We were all interested in research and we actually wanted to do hands-on work. And that's when we realized that in order to do all of those things, we would need support and funding. And that's when we started looking into grants around this time a year ago. And we have to thank Mr. Wisniewski, who found the Lemelson MIT Inventing program for us. And at first, I was really skeptical. It's a national grant. Are we really able to do this? And we all decided to take the shot anyways, and we devoted an enormous amount of our time, even in the summer of 2025, coming to this school in the library to work on the application. And I believe, if I remember, our final document or submission was like 12 pages long with lots of deep research about bat physiology, white nose syndrome, and the real-world importance of this problem. Eventually, we submitted the application in early August, and we got back from them, I believe, late September, and that's when we found out that we were one of the 8 high school teams selected nationwide. And when we found out, funny story, if you guys, Mrs. Amenta, Mr. Bigigny, you were CC'd on this email when Mr. W told us, I wrote in all caps, yippies, I can't wait to go to Chili's, let's have a party, with lots of exclamation marks and celebratory emojis. And I did not know that you guys were CC'd on this email. I found that, it was really embarrassing, but I'm glad that you guys found it funny. And since then, we hold weekly team meetings, continue refining our research, and bringing our invention to life. And now I will be passing along the microphone to Hannah Bednarczyk, who will be talking to you about the problem.
So before we jump right into our solution, we're going to talk about why bats matter. To date, white nose syndrome is the greatest ecological disease that has decimated populations of bats across North America. It works as a fungus that spreads across a bat's body. It disrupts their torpor, which is akin to hibernation. These periodic arousals result in a depletion of fat reserves, meaning that bats will likely face an early death before they reach the end of winter. Bats are a keystone species. They protect crops, they control insect populations, and they stabilize our ecosystems. When they disappear, there is a ripple of effects. Farmers are now forced out of using bats as a natural form of pesticides into chemical pesticides. This costs the agriculture and lumber industries millions or billions of dollars, and it destabilizes our ecosystems. Across the last 20 years, which is the length of this disease since it was discovered, there have been 8 to 10 million bat deaths across North America. Yet there is no real viable solution yet. This is not due to ignorance. This is due to the complexity of the problem. It is called a novel pathogen hypothesis. Novel as in new. When this fungus came from Europe and Asia to North American bats, their immune systems were not prepared. They had no resistance or anything to fight this fungus and prevent the deaths that decimated their populations and have caused serious declines in their populations. Specifically in Connecticut, 95% of the little brown bats have died. There are 2 other factors of white nose syndrome which are important to consider. The fungus itself is cold-loving and does not require a host to survive, meaning that it lives on the walls of caves and other bat hibernacula. This means every time a bat goes home, reinfection occurs. Secondly, lab cures are not viable in situ, or in other words, in nature. It is not feasible to distribute a cure to the millions of bats across North America. Although some states have research and have been working with live bats, we've taken a different approach. We shifted our focus from a cure to support and survival, where our goal is to increase a bat's fat reserves before winter in order to compensate for the energy loss they will experience and give them that final push past winter and into spring and allow them to repopulate and reproduce to their best of ability to help their populations bounce back. And now I'll pass it on to Toby, who will discuss with you our solution in more technical terms.
Thank you. Our solution to this problem is called the Carpe Noctem Conservation System. It has three parts: the Noctilure, the Noctihaven, and the Noctisentinel. The Noctilure is a device that uses ultraviolet light and insect pheromones and other biochemical attractants to bring insects to natural bat hotspots like lakes, forests, so they can fatten up and get the extra energy they need to survive the 2 to 3 months through to spring when there's more bugs about. The Noctihaven is a self-sanitizing bat box. So when the infection is transferred to the bat box and bats go back to it, they won't get infected. We use a 222 nanometer UV light to sanitize it and kill the fungus, along with a probiotic diffuser system to disperse probiotic bacteria onto the bats to further protect them. The Noctisentinel is the final part. It is essentially a bat robot that mimics certain physiological traits of bats like heat, size, mass, and more, to allow us to test our other inventions and also promote supporting bat research in other labs across the country. Yeah. You'll learn more at our stations.
So everything that we've talked about so far isn't something that just came randomly from our head. Every decision and every action that we've taken toward this project was based on existing research. And to date, and fun fact, we have read over 20 plus peer-reviewed articles since we started this project, and yeah, it's been a hefty read, so we're pretty good on this subject. And we would like to give a quick shout out to 4 of the key research themes that that inspired or built the foundations of our project: Verant, Kuntz, Frick, and our advisor, Christopher Wisniewski. And out of these 4 research papers, the most important to us was Frick and Wisniewski. So Frick's research paper was heavily based on the data that proved that light attraction is a viable mechanism towards increased bat foraging, and that is very important to our project, which is basically fattening up our bats in order to increase their survival through winter. And Mr. Wisniewski's project, who is also his mentor, Dr. Dunbar, a professor of biology from the Southern Connecticut State University, who's actually sitting up at the front, is also here with us today. And their work around bat communities around the state of Connecticut and their methodology behind it is going to be very important to our field testing that will be happening this spring. And next, I will be passing along the microphone to Ava Barbagallo, who will be talking to you about our outreach.
Hello. So obviously our project the main purpose is making something bigger than ourselves. So how do we make something bigger than ourselves in a small community like Berlin? Well, first of all, we have community outreach. So we want to make this project bigger than Berlin, bigger than the high school, bigger than the whole Berlin Ed Foundation, but Connecticut, because we're here to represent Connecticut. Now, community outreach can look like writing tons of emails in a classroom at your Chromebook, or it can be looking like reaching out to high-level executive officers. For example, Ms. Parisi, who is out here in the front, she came in. She is the Connecticut State Department of Education Chief Academic Officer, and she came in and she listened to us present, and she gave us so much feedback. It was so refreshing to hear someone, instead of saying great job, giving us actual feedback that can help us innovate and grow our project. It helped us with more community outreach, with innovating how we're going to present. And furthermore, she also helped us with our new slogan, which you might see soon enough around Berlin, called "Where Did All the Bats Go?" But more on that another time. We also have an Instagram page, so it'd be awesome if you guys could follow that. We're trying to get more followers. There you can see more of our updates, what we have been doing. And then also, I'm not sure how many more of you watch the news on every evening, especially Fox 61, but a couple months ago, we got interviewed by Joe Monti on Fox 61, and we got interviewed on our Carpe Noctem, on literally everything we've been doing. And this coming up Wednesday, he's coming back, and Wednesday night we'll be airing an interview about us. So we're very excited for that. And next will be Sadell Holland talking about what comes next.
Thank you. So we've done a lot of work so far, but the next logical question is, what is the future for Carpe Noctem, and where can this project go from where we are now? And we've done so much already. But our work is not done. Currently, we are working on completing the builds for our inventions. This will include identifying problems, innovating solutions to them, and then testing again to make sure that there are no new problems and that our old problems have gone away. We should be finished with that by the time we hit April, where we can pivot from innovation and engineering towards a more biological and research-based approach as we start our field study. In the top right corner, you can see a map with the places that we hope to start testing and deploying our invention. We will then scientifically collect and analyze the data that we receive. And by October, we should be attending the North American Society for Bat Research's conference, which is the biggest international bat conference. This year will be held in Colorado, and we would love to be going there as presenters to present to a super large group of bat biologists about all of the work we've been doing. By January of next year, we hope to have completed a process we've already started in applying for our full utility patent. Currently, we are patent pending as we have filed our provisional patent application. But by January of next year, that will have run out, and we will be applying for our full utility patent, which will give us much more protection. In the future, we would love to write an academic research paper, and we are super passionate as a group about expanding invention education in our community, and Angie will be telling you guys a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Sadell. Well, now, how does all of the outreach, research, and engineering that we've been doing really matter towards education? Well, we've set some prospective goals that we hope to accomplish moving further with our project. By addressing real-world issues, we hope to inspire other students that achieving great things can be possible through the influence of STEM education and student-motivated learning. Additionally, sorry about that, we hope to create our own legacy here at BHS, as we are so proud to create this amazing team here, and we hope to inspire other future students here to have the similar opportunities that we had, so that this way they could go achieve their own dreams and hopefully make an impact on our world. And now, we are happy to have you, the Berlin Board of Education, school admin, and other Lemelson MIT guests up on the stage to see the work for themselves. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, so at this time, when they're going to get situated at their stations, they invite board members and then our guests who are here from Lemelson and from Ms. Parisi, of course, and Southern, to come on up and see the work and engage for a few minutes with our students. We would love to invite everybody up, but we're going to, just for the sake of some congestion on the stage, we're going to start with board members and then our guest from Lemelson and abroad. Okay, so come on up and we will reconvene in just a few minutes.
lovely to meet you. My name's Miranda. I'm so thrilled. This presentation is so hard. You can tell they've been working hard on this. They're stellar. Yeah. I was saying to Chris's parents who are here, even my universities don't have this type of practice and dedication.
They
It's
don't
hard work.
sleep. And most of these kids, some in the football team, or in the play, or doing their national honor stuff, they're doing
They're gonna let them play. Yeah.
it's driven.
This is such a thrill. Well, congratulations. Hi, my name's
You're a very
Miranda
important person
Dunbar.
to the group, aren't you?
I was told I must meet you.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So what is it? What's your connection?
They contacted Sabrina, wrote a letter, a compelling letter to the Commissioner of Education of the state. Certain things, get to different chiefs of the police office, very academic, very famous. Flowers. And then I have a degree in marketing, so like it's just totally slipped in. I remember sitting there like, oh, and you can do this, and you can do that. Like, where did the bats go? And once that was said, I'm like, that's for sure. We never turned back. And good, ever since that day, it never turned back. So it's magical.
I don't recall their deadline. Will they continue this through summer?
Yes. So they just submitted their provisional
Okay.
last Friday, so they have a year to the date.
Okay.
So they have to take it up to the, and we have a lot of fundraising to do.
So something I'll pass by the team after this is over. If they want to do continued summer work, there are piles of opportunities for summer outreach programs where they, like, nature centers and conservation societies are purposely looking for young people to do their programming. Yeah.
And the commissioner may want to support them. We're looking at March. So they're ready to speak to the whole state board.
How long have you been here?
This is my third year. So we know it's a little crowded on the stage, but we don't want to keep you from coming up at this time. So if anyone wants to come up to the stage, feel free. Parents, family, administrators, anyone. If you want to head up, feel free just to peek in and listen to what the students are sharing. Also, you might get a glimpse at the prototype.
Yeah, that's right.
About another minute or so at the stations on stage, and then we're going to have everyone come back down to their seats.
Julia, good. Come on, Julia. Come on, Julia. Hi, Brian. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
I want to like steal the show. This isn't my thing.
I brought them too. Yeah, everybody.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone, at this time, we are going to resume with our regular meeting. So we're going to have everyone come on down.
Take off the last. It's good.
Thanks, Theo. Do they need to wrap everything up right now, or do you? Okay, so as our students are wrapping up their stations, it goes without saying, just in that 20 to 25 minutes of workshop time, the amount of conversation that just happened and the community outreach, the intent of the student group coming here tonight and having the opportunity to speak to a live audience, and the networking that it's already happening in the room is thriving. I've heard a bunch of comments passed around from our district administration team and some parents and guests in, what's right in education. That example of student passion, there's no grade attached to what they're doing. It's based on pure passion and curiosity. Through the inspiration of one of their teachers and probably multiple teachers. We could not be more proud of that representing Berlin High School. So I know they ran off stage, but let's give them a round of applause. And a special round of applause to Mr. Wisniewski, who has provided them the opportunity and the space and the time beyond the school day, weekends, summer, holidays. They have not stopped. So special shout out to him. Thank you everyone for being here and supporting them tonight. I'll turn it back over to you all.
I don't know if the board has anything to share. I just want to say I'm so incredibly impressed with the level of work, the level of rigor, and what they were able to produce. That is in fact graduate level work, and it's really impressive. As a high school teacher myself, I know getting students from where they are to that level is rather impressive, and it is not easy, and that is, credit to Berlin High School and everybody involved. Their passion is so inspiring, and I'm so happy that we have this opportunity with them tonight. Even though, it's 7:16 and it's been going on for a while, it was worth every second. So I don't know if anyone has anything they would like to share, but I'll give it to you guys.
Well, I've been following them for a while, so they know I'm a big fan of theirs already. But I just, I'm just so impressed with this. This is what they're doing in their free time. They were doing this over the summer when they could have been doing so many other things, but they chose to do this. It's very impressive, and it just speaks so much to the caliber of education we have in Berlin, and to Mr. W's work as well. I know they all think very highly of him, and he's done a great job with this project.
Anyone else? All right, so they will be on Fox 61 on Wednesday morning, so make sure you tune in. I'm really excited. Thank you everyone who came out tonight for them. You can stay if you would like. Don't feel obligated, but we are going to shift into the regular part of our meeting. All right, we are moving on to report of board members. Do any board members have anything they would like to report? I will share, so as you know, I serve on the CABE Board of Directors, and from January 30th to February 2nd, I had the opportunity to go to DC and attend the Board Leadership and Advocacy Institute at CABE's expense. So that was great. But it was really great professional development, learning more about, the legislative priorities at the federal level. And I was able to, I didn't get to spend the day on Capitol Hill with them. That was on Tuesday because I had to go back to school. But then I ended up missing school that day anyway, so I should have just stayed. But I was able to write letters to, our federal Congress people, and I focus on the expansion of CTE funding with the Perkins Grant for all populations. And, we heard from a number of different guest speakers and congressional staffers from both sides, which I thought was really great, that they brought in bipartisan voices, and it was a lot of learning, and it was a really great use of my time. So that's what I had to share out. I also, CABE also made me like the chair of the State Resolution Committee, and I got to meet with Senator Looney 2 weeks ago, and the Education Committee 2 weeks ago as well, and we talked about our priorities. Yes, his name is Looney. He's from New Haven. So it's been really great being part of the process. So that's all I have to say on that. And any other board members like to share out? Okay. The next one, report of our student board representatives.
From March 6th to 8th, the BHS Performing Arts Department will put on their phenomenal rendition of Frozen. The show will demonstrate the diverse talents of all students at BHS. Tickets are now on sale at BHS. Visit singingredcoats.ludus.com to purchase tickets today. Congratulations to Brooke Walker, who achieved her 1,000th career point. She is the 8th Lady Redcoat to accomplish this. Go Redcoats! Congratulations to our Carpe Noctem Invent team, who successfully filed their provisional utility patent on January 30th. They now have 1 year to finalize their full utility patent with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. We wish them the best of luck and are excited to see their final product.
That was it, sorry. Any questions? None? Okay, committee reports. Do we have any committee reports? The F&O committee met, right? Yeah, does someone want to share out about that? Jen, Gina, one of you?
I think
Okay.
we're getting into like budget stuff, so probably don't need to report out on that.
Okay. Any other committee reports? No? Correspondence to the board?
No correspondence to the board, Stephen.
Okay, audience of citizens. If any resident would like to approach the board, please come up to a microphone, state your name and address, and you will be limited to 3 minutes per resident. Hello.
Mel Boudria, 115 Skinner Road. Honestly, all I have to say is that that presentation by Carpe Noctem was just absolutely stellar. It's the reason why good budgets produce good results. As we're going into budget season, keep that in the back of your mind. This entire auditorium, much of what you see at BHS is a result of education spending. Renovations at BHS were consequentially, positively essential to the success at this school and the continued elevated experience for students. Keep that in the back of your mind. I would also ask the board, in that same vein for facility, please advocate for science lab renovations at McGee. Those labs are over 50 years old. And if we want to be able to support modern science curriculum, we need modern labs. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to approach the board? Okay. Moving on to our, there are two items that need to be added to our agenda, and I need a motion for consideration.
I move to accept the retirement of Thomas Francolino. Francolino in school suspension at McGee School, effective with the close of business on Friday, March 6, 2026. Also, to thank him for the 27 years of service he has provided for the youth of Berlin, and wish him a good, healthy, and happiness in his retirement years.
So the motion by Melissa, the second by Brian. Didn't we need a motion to add it to the agenda? So first, we need to make a motion to add it to the, so make the motion to add 2 items to the agenda.
Okay, make the motion to add 2 items to the agenda. First is the retirement of in-school suspension.
The second is the appointment of PPS director for Berlin Public Schools.
And the second for the appointment of PPS Director of Berlin Public Schools.
So we have a motion on the table. Is there a second? So the motion by Melissa, the second by Brian. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? 9-0. Now, do we have a motion for consideration for the motion, the item that we added? Yes.
Oh, okay. I move to accept the retirement of Thomas Francolino in school suspension at McGee School, effective with the close of business on Friday, March 6, 2026. Also, to thank him for the 27 years of service as he has provided to the youth of Berlin, and wish him good health and happiness in his retirement years.
I second.
So we have a motion by Melissa, second by Brian. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 9-0. Moving on to the next item. So this is a anticipated administrative appointment, Director of Pupil Personnel Services. Do we have a motion for consideration?
I move to appoint Michelle Joyssner to the position of Director of Pupil Personnel Services for the Berlin Public Schools, effective July 1st, 2026.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, so the motion by Melissa, second by Vanessa. Any discussion? So we met right before the meeting, and before we vote, well, I don't want to say congratulations too soon, but it was great meeting with you. And does anyone else have anything they want to add to this discussion? We're going to move to a vote, and then we can say whatever we want. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That vote carries 9-0. And congratulations. I wanted to say congratulations before we voted, but then I was like, no, you can't do that. So, you have big shoes to fill. So she's going to fill them. There's no doubt in anyone's mind about that. But we will miss you, Linda. But we're happy that Michelle will be taking over. Anything else anyone wants to share? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion for consideration?
Presented.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Melissa, second by Gina. Any what?
Jen and Gina.
Okay, so the motion by who? Jen? That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said
Maybe I did. Okay, the motion by Jen, the second by Gina. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, moving on to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 9-0. Moving on to new business. Ashley Dorsey, the Director of Finance and Operations, will provide us with a report.
Hello. So the Berlin High School flooring project, preliminary bid work and design questionnaires are underway for the Berlin High School flooring project. The town council approved $900,000 at their meeting on Tuesday, January 6th for phase 1 of this project. The project is moving steadily and bid packages are being prepared. We're hopeful this project will start as early as this summer. However, a definitive timeline has not yet been established. This is really good news. There's some movement on the McGee Science Labs. I know I've been reporting there's been nothing for several months, but we're finally getting there. Funding is in place to award the architectural and engineering contract for the McGee Science Labs. The next steps are to seek approval from the town council to award the bid. After that, it then goes from the town council to the Board of Finance, who will appropriate the funds that we have established for this particular contract. This agenda item has been submitted for the town council meeting that's going to be held on February 17th, so I'll keep you posted on that. The Griswold HVAC project is making good progress. They started to replace the fan coil units in each of the classrooms. The facilities department is in the process of getting the state's approval for the necessary abatement procedures that are on the horizon. Pending the state's approval of the schedule, asbestos abatement will likely start as soon as the second week of March. Abatement will be done on the second shift. At that time, no persons under the age of 18 will be permitted in the building during active abatement. We're coordinating with the YMCA after school care program to be moved to Willard during that 3-week period. And the YMCA will be coordinating directly with those families that are going to be impacted. The Hubbard HVAC project is gearing up to start removal and installation of the classroom fan coil units in the next couple weeks. To date, a majority of the work has been contained most of the hallways. In preparation for the unit removal, areas over at Hubbard were also tested for asbestos. Lab results indicated that there were some trace amounts in the mastic. However, due to the low levels of asbestos, the plan for Hubbard is to encapsulate rather than do a full abatement. And that's all I got. Any questions?
Did anyone have any questions? No? Okay. Brian has something.
So why don't you just stay, we could do the tech school transportation.
Sure.
We're just going to move the order just because Ashley's at the podium.
Yeah. Welcome to the Ashley Show. Okay, so back in October, I did a presentation on the ridership and the cost of tech school transportation. So currently, we have the model of we transport to whatever tech school students are attending. By law, we're only required to transport to one technical school and one vocational school. We did a survey of the different of districts within our DIRG, and a majority of them are doing the 1-in-1. Our thought process is a way to kind of start to alleviate some of our costs when it comes to tech school transportation, and also to kind of take the strain off of our existing fleet. We're looking to modify for next year how we're going to transport students moving forward who decide to attend the tech school programs. So we would like to propose an agenda or a revision to our current practice to include transportation to E.C. Goodwin Technical High School located in New Britain and Southington Vocational School located in Southington. So that would be our 1-in-1, which meets our legal requirements. And then as far as the other students who are attending Wilcox, Vinyl, Prince Tech, I believe, they would be grandfathered in until they graduate their program or they leave their program. So essentially, we wouldn't see any actual cost savings as we grandfather some of these students in, but the language we have actually in the motion and what we plan to put in place will kind of make very clear lines as to how that is going to look for their students moving forward. It's in front of you today because we need to make this decision so we could notify our families how this is going to change. Also for our 8th grade students who may be considering tech school, we need to let them know if they're not planning to attend E.C. Goodwin, they will likely not have transportation. We are required by law to also fund the first $6,000 of transportation to and from a tech school. So any student who elects to go to a Vinyl Tech or a Wilcox Tech will be entitled to that up to $6,000. In the next couple months, we'll have another item on the agenda as to how we would have that reimbursement actually move forward. There's several different ways to do it. Some districts just cut a $6,000 check. Other districts do it based on a reimbursement program, based on attendance. Some districts do it by mileage. So there's a couple ways that we could fulfill that $6,000 requirement. I do know that some of the schools that have the reimbursement program in place, they do not expend that $6,000. Oh,
Why,
I'm doing
why-
all of
we're
them.
gonna just,
Cool.
then I'll take care of the other two, Ash.
All right. So this is just general housekeeping. We received a quote from, this one is from CDW for the purchase of the grade 9 Chromebooks. For next year, CDW is on state contract, so I'm just seeking approval for the purchase of the Chromebooks. It will be 225 Chromebooks for the 9th grade incoming class. Total amount is $73,102.50.
New Chromebooks for middle school, and then we do it again in 9th, and our hope is that they last 6, 7, 8, and then 9 through 12 at the high school.
Sure.
Okay, so those that are going to EC Goodwin, and where's the other one?
Southington VOCAP?
Southington. Those are the only two that our town is busing to that school.
For next year, that's
For
what we'd
next
like,
year.
that's what we'd like to put in place, yes.
Because for today, where are they having to get the bus?
Today they go to Vinyl Tech, they go to Wilcox Tech, and I believe Prince Tech is the third,
Oh,
is the
okay.
fourth. So they're
So
going
we're
to
trying to
several.
minimize
We're trying to
that.
minimize the number of runs.
Okay.
Really quick, sorry, not to interrupt. Could we actually just have a motion for consideration and then we can open it up as a discussion?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
No, that's okay. I didn't realize it either. So, under C, technical school transportation, do we have a motion for consideration?
Existing transportation practices effective with the 26-27 school year to only provide technical transportation services to EC Goodwin Technical High School in New Britain and Southington Vocational Agricultural School in Southington, notwithstanding students who are currently enrolled as of October 1st, 2025 in the technical school program and registered with the Berlin Public Schools will continue to receive their existing level of transportation services until graduation or exit of program.
So we have a motion by Jen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Melissa. Now we can open it up for discussion. So I know, Vanessa, did you get the answer to your question? Yes. Okay, I thought so. I just,
Yeah.
before more people came in and asked.
So if this gets approved, then
So
They'll
what
need to find their
essentially would be
own-
New Britain Transportation would provide transportation services, either through bus or van services, to EC Goodwin and VOAG. And then, of course, if the kids that are already enrolled at Vinyl Tech or Wilcox Tech, we will continue transportation services until they exit the program or they graduate. For any incoming student, so a student that is going into 9th grade decides, I don't want to go to Berlin High School, I want to go to one of the other tech schools, they will be part of what we would consider the reimbursement program. So they would be eligible for that up to $6,000 reimbursement instead of actual door-to-door service with New Britain Transportation. So essentially, they would be responsible for providing their own transportation to those schools.
Okay, so any other discussion, questions? Okay, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Oh, there's Peter. Sorry, Peter. Opposed? Okay, the vote carries 9-0. Okay, let's go back to item B, though, no, we didn't, okay. We'll go to D. Got it. Do we have a motion for consideration for grade 9 Chromebook approval?
Procedures to purchase 225 Acer Chromebooks and Google Chrome licenses from CDWG through the PEPPM Cooperative Purchasing 2022 Catalog Agreement, for it is in the best interest of the board, and to authorize the Director of Finance and Operations to issue a purchase order not to exceed $73,102.50.
So the motion by Gina, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jen. Sorry, people are quick. Any discussion on this item? Okay, any discussion? Let's move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The vote carries 9-0. Now, thank you, everyone. Are you up here for B too?
I think Parent Square's the other one.
What?
I have one more. Parent Square?
Parenting.
Okay.
Parent Square.
We can call you up if we need you. Or you can go home early. No, don't. I'm teasing. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent to talk about our open choice program participation.
So in your packet, you have the open choice map. We're asking for next year, we want to offer 10 kindergarten seats. One of them would be at Hubbard. And then with that, you can see what we typically do. If a student is taking a seat, we offer to their siblings also. So when you look across the sibling here, there is one additional student in first grade, which would be with the Hubbard student. And then there's one in sixth grade, 10th grade, sorry, 10th, for a total of 2. So there'll be 3, so the same family. The idea is that if a family's coming, we like to let the whole family come to the district, so they're not sending their children to different schools. So those would be, and then we'd offer in 10 new seats. I believe our number, if we have not, in years past, we've not been able to fill the 10 seats. We've been around 7 or 8, and you can look at the years past. But we'd offer 10. That would put us around 3.7, which would qualify us as we've done this year, and the same threshold for number of choice students at about 3.7%.
All right, before we talk about this, is there a motion for consideration?
I move to approve the superintendent's recommendation regarding the level of participation in the open choice program for the 2026-2027 school year as presented. 10 kindergarten seats and a priority sibling seat in grade 1 and grade 10 for a total of 12 new seats.
So the motion by Brian, do we have a second? Second by Christina. Any discussion? No discussion? Okay, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, vote carries 9-0. And now we can move to item E on our agenda, Parent Square. So the superintendent will talk a little bit about it, then we'll have a motion for consideration, and then we can open it up for discussion.
Parent Square is probably the premier communication tool being used by districts at this time. And we liked it for a number of years. But in this year, credit to administration, Lori, Cara, and Ashley for working with the consultant. They've made it very attractive for us if we go to a 3-year contract with them, and that's what you have in front of you. We would be doing away with School Messenger, Seesaw, and some of the other communication tools used in athletics. Parent Square will allow us to have messaging down to classroom, making groups. Teachers will be able to use it. It's more universal. The other part that Parent Square now has, we'll be revamping our website. And Parent Square communicates directly with the website. So when we post something or something sent out, now we have to have a posted website, or you automatically go to the website it's a lot more robust. Many of the administrators in the district, they use it in their children's schools. On a personal note, my wife used it for the last 4 years in her district. Fantastic. It is the premier communication tool. And the cost of it, when you look at what will be eliminated and parents go take the place of, we're probably doing a little bit less than what we're currently paying when you group everything together. And we'll be revamping the website, which definitely needs an overhaul. So I think it's a good move for us in the right direction. And I think it'll enhance communication.
Do we have a motion for consideration? Do we have a motion for consideration?
I move to approve the 3-year master services agreement with Parent Square for a total contract amount not to exceed $64,086, with primary service term established as July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029, with annual payments of $18,762 due on July 1st of each fiscal year, to authorize the Director of Finance and Operations to sign the agreement and all related documents, including provisions for implementation services effective from the date of execution through June 30th of 2026.
Do we have a second? So the motion by Vanessa, the second by Jen. Any discussion? Okay. No discussion? I know we talked about this at our last meeting, and we've continued to kind of talk about it, but I've been using this for about 3 years, and I do love it. I think it's really great, and I've used other platforms before, so I'm happy to see that Berlin is moving in that direction. Any other discussion? Okay, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the vote carries 9-0. All right, moving on. So I know we're slightly out of order. All right, we're back. Now we're on item F, review and anticipated adoption of the Board of Education budget for 2026-2027. So the board, we have gone through the process where the administration has presented and the superintendent presented. We had our budget workshop that we presented again tonight. We've had several F&O committee meetings, and here we are. So the F&O committee met on February 5th to discuss the proposed budget. An informal meeting was held earlier this week to provide an overview of the 26-27 proposed budget to the public and receive feedback. So we need to take action. Before we have a discussion or anything else, I need a motion for consideration. The second, then we can open it up to discussion.
26-27 in the amount of $57,481,059.
So we have a motion by Jen.
$57,481,059.
Good job. So we have a motion by Jen. Do we have a second? Second by Brian. Let's open it up for discussion. If for any reason you have concerns or questions like I posed in the email and read at the beginning of the meeting, please, this is our time now. Let's talk about them. Let's have these discussions. If that's how we're going to accomplish, and it's okay if we have opposing views. We can respect one another's views and still sit at the same table. So go ahead, and I'm going to open it up and give it to you guys.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you that contribute into this whole process, as I know it's grueling and time-consuming, and there's definitely a strong effort to think of reductions that can be made with as least impact as possible, but just being fiscally responsible, especially with a large sum of money, of the taxpayers. I understand where the increases are coming from, as we've heard from all the reasoning and, from getting our answers from our questions in multiple meetings. I personally, the one thing that just stands out to me I understand where it's coming from, but the increase of the equipment at $401,000, like I said, just stands out to me in this budget. I understand we don't have a line item for technology, but just speaking as I support people and staff over one-on-one equipment. That's all.
Anyone else like to share?
Over the years, I know that we've been given what we've requested and what we actually end up at. It looks like there's like a 3.15 percentage difference between what we always request over what we actually receive. And just trying to figure out, I would love to be able to give us like a 7-8% instead of what we actually end up at. So, I've been through this packet multiple times, listening to the presentations, but then we get back to reality of what will the city actually give us. And it always seems like we are falling, like I said, at least 3%, that's all we get, 3 to maybe 3.5%. So even as we're looking at the budget and hearing all the presentations, we don't want new staff. And I think, at least from my point of view, we want to be able to keep the staffing as is, especially when it comes to classroom sizes. It's tough to be able to look at this budget and then take into consideration the fact that we're fiscally responsible to our taxpayers and say, we're utilizing this money in the right way. I agree with you, Melissa. Maybe, that one-on-one, especially in the lower grades, elementary, maybe doesn't have to be one-on-one, but most of our money really just comes from staffing, and I know I don't want to lose staff. We want to retain the people that we have. We have an amazing school system. I think the question is, how do we get from what we really want to what we're really going to get? And I don't know if that means that we have to present a budget that is lower to the city in order so we don't have to go into referendum, or do we actually present it as is? I want to just put it out there, is that the best thing that we can do? I would love to be able to give the school system, like I said, 7, 8, 9%. I want the school to have everything that it needs. But realistically, when we bring this to the city, every year, on average, it's 3.15% difference between what we present and what we actually get. So how do we meet them in the middle?
Well, anyone else can chime in here, but I think, though we obviously want to work together and, have cordial, professional, respectful communication, our job, as outlined in Connecticut General Statute, is separate. We are separate to do what's best for the school and to put together the most fiscally responsible budget while maintaining the goals, the shared mission and vision of our district. I personally do not think cutting it further at this point, this is just me as one of 9, I don't think reducing us further at this point is going to, fulfill my obligation when I am sworn in to uphold, and focus on the school system. There's different boards, and councils, right? And we all have our respective jobs to do. And so here I am focused as a board member, as a parent, a community member, taxpayer, thinking, and an educator, thinking about what is going to be best for our schools. Every year we are faced with this decision. But like I've said before, and I'll say it again, when the community is upset because cuts have been made, are you going to put your head on your pillow at the end of the night and be confident in the decisions that you all made? And this is just a question to each and every one of us as individuals. And I know when I make difficult decisions, I can rest peacefully at night when I've thought about it and know it's a right possible decision. So, at this point, with the cost of everything going up, this is not an anomaly to just the Berlin Board of Education. Everywhere you go, the cost of everything has increased. To come in, at a 5.34%, 5.34%, when we all know our household budgets have gone up far more than that. Everything, everywhere is just so expensive. So that's my 2 cents. I'd love to hear from others.
I agree with you, Julia, but I also feel like it's not even what's being asked, it's sometimes where the money's being appropriated. So, and it doesn't mean that it's necessarily wrong. Maybe it could be amended in some way in order for the city to be able to understand that these are the things that we need and maybe not want. And I think that's what piece gets missed in all of the transaction is, it looks as though, our budget is bloated and we want all these bells and whistles. Well, to some degree that's true. I mean, we do want, state-of-the-art technology. We want our kids to have the best so that when they get out into the workforce, they're not, foreign to what it is that they need to do. So I agree with that, but I also think that we have to be, again, fiscally responsible and what can we really do without and what do we really need? And it's those wants and needs that's the difficult piece. We want it all. I mean, of course, we want the best school system, but sometimes it's just not what the town can afford, supposedly. So we have to look at all of that, I think. I don't think it's just a black and white, well, this is what we want, so this is what we should get. It's hard. It's one of the hardest, I believe, one of the hardest facets of being a board member is this budget, because you just can't make everybody happy, and you want to. You want to make the teachers happy, you want to make the board happy, you want to make the town happy, and you just can't do it. So it's very frustrating, but I think looking at wants and needs maybe a little bit deeper is something that we can do and we should do.
Yeah, I don't think the 5.34 is really asking for all we need. I think it's where we've had several administrators, staff go through this and the process to get to the 5.34. It's a basic budget right now, and we're not getting any extras with this. So do we need those extras? I think there's definitely things that we could do better with more money, but is it realistic at 5.34? Absolutely.
Sorry, to the point that was just made and that was also mentioned during Audience of Citizen, think about what we sat through tonight, right? With the bats and all that phenomenal work. Also the football team, we have so many great options and opportunities for our students. I will guarantee that with reductions, these are going to start going away. We're going to have larger class sizes. Maybe technology might be reduced a little. The board is going to have to direct the superintendent on that. But again, that's going to have to be a collective board, right? We're going to have to vote and decide. Also with the parking, that was so confusing for so many board members. So if the parking was a difficult decision and an afterthought for you, the decisions that are going to have to be made are going to be even bigger than the parking with 10 people coming out. So just things to consider. Peter, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I'm fine with the budget as presented, assuming you guys can hear me. I think the superintendents and Ashley and the rest of the administrative staff have done a good job assembling the budget. Staying at the set number we have as proposed is fine by me. I don't think cutting back is a good idea. Our job is to set a budget that the 9 of us, think is good. If we think it's good, great. if the town wants to cut it down or do whatever they're going to do, that's their job and that's their decision, and they can think and calculate the potential impact of those things. We know what the impact is here at the Board of Ed. We know what we think is best for the district. It's on the town and the Board of Finance to take it from there, and I'm not going to give any thought to what they may or may not do. That's their own role.
Who else hasn't shared yet?
I agree. I think that what they have presented in the budget is chiseled down to what we need to keep going as we are. I really hope that it stays that way.
That's really all I have to say.
Brian?
I agree that the budget as presented is a budget that's functional with no additional real increases worth any concern. I know that when the principals reported, they came with basically zero asks, even though there is not zero needs. So I think it's been a fiscally responsible process and budget process. I can tell you, in my day job right now, we're getting programs that are about 40% more expensive this year than they were last year. And that's, it's not apples to apples, but it's pretty darn close with just the increased cost to operate and to function in today's community and to pay people somewhat living wages. So, so I don't think the 5.3% ask is unreasonable at all.
Did anyone not share? Okay, we can move to a vote. So we already have the motion and the second, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did Peter vote?
Not yet.
Was that a vote?
Say it again, Peter.
Aye.
Oh, cool, thanks. Opposed? Anyone, any abstentions? So it is an 8-1 vote, is that correct? Is that reflective of everyone? Okay, so the vote is 8-1. So we will be moving that forward. Moving on to the next item in our agenda, there is an executive session anticipated. I'll turn that over to the superintendent.
So at this time, everyone is free to leave, so we can go into executive session. Thank you all for coming tonight. Executive session will take no longer